Hello everybody, James here. It's Ask Dutch Anything, episode 96. Quick version of the intro. Dirty Dutch Mantell with 2 L's at gmail.com. That's where you write to get your signed merchandise from the Dutchman himself. And the most important email for this episode, of course, is questionsfordutch at gmail.com. So that's the email you write into to submit your questions for future episodes of this show. Dutch has got his backwards hat on. He's got his cigar ready. He's ready to answer your questions. And here we go. George. He didn't actually ask a question. He just sent a video in. And it was of the War Games match that you were involved in with the likes of Abby, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, all that kind of thing, back in Puerto Rico in 1987. Did you watch any of this, and what was even leading up to this?
It was like Big Show week. So, and everybody was in that week. And they would have these like, this was before I started booking it. This was about, I don't know, several years before I started booking it. Of course, everybody knows what happened in Puerto Rico between Brody and Invader One. They're both in this match. Abdullah's in it. Iron Sheik is in it. Me, Savio Vega was in it. Carlos. I mean, all the stars in Puerto Rico at the time, they were all in this match. And it was a 2-cage battle royal. And I think you had to be the last one in the cage to win, which I didn't even know that going to the ring. They didn't explain it to me. They told me what they wanted me to do. Okay, I got it, But it was in one of those matches. I hated to be in the matches with Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik would say, sell this. I told him one night, I said, no, God damn it, you sell this. I said, hell, the match is 2 minutes old, and I've sold you up to now. You've sold nothing. Of course, I didn't tell him that in words. And I hit him and he sold it. I said, well, hell, the Sheik was funny in his own way, but he was okay. But I didn't really, the Sheik wasn't a one that would do a lot of spots. He would just beat you up till you decided to do something. Talking something over with the Sheik, and guess how much I talked with the Sheik before this match? Not this match coming up, but I had a single match with him. 0. I didn't even actually see him before the match, because in Puerto Rico at that time, they would have their dressing room, and I would have, or the other guys would have their dressing room, and it's about across the whole floor, and you had no way to talk to them. So you went in there, sight unseen, and had a match. So that's what I'm saying. How many guys could do that now?
None.
Because they all, and I'm going to tell you why they couldn't do it, because a lot of these guys, they have to take, I don't know, tons of practice to do that stuff. But you have to do it with somebody, and you really got to do it with the one you're going to have the match with, which is very difficult. So, but anyway, that was wrestling back. 87 was how long ago? Was it 87?
Yeah, 38 years ago.
God, that's a damn lifetime, man.
Do you want to watch the video?
Not really, but you can show a part of it. It's just 2 cages.
Yeah, well, all right, just one sec. Okay, we're back, and unfortunately it's one of those portrait things there, but there is the Iron Sheik, freshly fired from the WWF. That was when he was caught with Jim Duggan on the turnpike.
So he got fired for that?
No, he got fired for having a load of contraband on him. I mean, he got fired for that as well. There's Abby. Who are the other guys?
Watch Abby get in the ring now. Wait a minute. Here we go. Gotta have the chair. He's getting in. Okay. And
It's English commentary as well. That's interesting. Must be a retrospective.
It's in Spanish, and those are the two cages. I don't know what this building was. I think it was a 10,000 seat arena, but it was full. You just can't see this side, but it was. Every seat was taken, and it was on a. This is always has been on Sunday in Puerto Rico. It's afternoon shows. So this show started at probably 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And there's the two cages. I don't know who's in that other cage.
That's Brody, isn't it? On his all fours.
That is Brody.
Who's the big boy?
There's Invader with Cheeky Stars in the corner. He is what I would call a Roddy Piper of Puerto Rico. Great talker. And kind of funny, too. People loved that guy. And he was always kind of like a heel. See, that's Brody and another big guy. I don't know what that big guy's name is.
Yeah, that's who I was asking, yeah.
I don't know who he is, but he didn't go anywhere else. He went there, and I think he couldn't get booked somewhere else. Or
There's Savio. He was TNT at the time, wasn't he?
He was TNT. I don't know if he was TNT then or not. I think that was a WWE name. WWF.
No, he was
WWF.
Savio Vega and Quang in WWF. He was TNT in Mid-South, so I presume he was TNT here.
Okay.
Unless he was something else here.
And that's where I met a. Look at that Abdullah. Got me in the corner, beating the crap out of me.
Yeah, I thought you were with Iron Sheik.
Oh, I can't tell. Okay, it's not me. That's minus me 200 pounds.
I'm just trying to see where you are. I can't even see the Sheik either.
See, in these matches, what I would try to do, I would try to get it, and you'll see me somewhere in a corner, because I would get over in the corner to where I could watch everybody else. So one guy was, if I could see two guys having trouble, I'd stay away from them. There goes Chicky into the corner. But anyway.
Oh, there you are. There's you. You and Sheik and trying to handcuff each other.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the guy you're punching there?
There's my punch.
Who's the guy you're punching there? Who's that guy?
Hercules Ayala.
Ooh.
He was a tough guy.
Let's watch the finish.
He was really a street tough guy.
Oh, someone's been shot, apparently. What's happened there?
What was that picture? Oh, Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos was down.
Bludgeoned.
I had to actually fake my concern. See, we just all left him laying over there. That's what you get for putting us in this stupid match.
So you're a heel then? So Iron Sheik was a babyface?
No, I was a babyface then.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yep. Was some guy trying to get that?
There we go. That's enough, I think.
That's enough. It's boring as hell anyway. See, cage matches were invented to keep the heel inside, because he would dodge a championship match, but he'd just leave. And he would dodge a championship match because he would just leave. Then, of course, what would be the match leading up to a cage match? What would be the last match, you think?
Leading up to a cage match?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, like no count out or no DQ or something.
Well, that's second from the top. I would say a lumberjack match to keep the guy in the ring. And then when all that failed, then you go with the cage. So, and then I think at some point in the business that the gimmicks took control. Instead of being creative, you just... See, that was creative up to that point till they used it to death. Then, I don't know. Well, I do know, but everybody knows what I'm thinking anyway. It's gone too far.
Next question from Tom says, "Hey, Dutch and James, hope you're both looking forward to a healthy and happy Christmas and New Year. Wanted to ask Dutch when he was booking the TNA's knockout division, were there any women he wanted to bring in but never got the opportunity to?
No, not really. I was having trouble making contact with some of these ladies because I didn't know where to get a hold of them. So, and it was such a little roster anyway. I only had like 10 is all I could get. And I think 10 or 12 was probably the right amount. I was thinking about having an actual girl show and just to see what it would do. I think it would have done very well. You remember the matches that Glow used to have on TV?
Oh, they were bloody awful. But yes.
They were mine wouldn't have been awful because all my girls could actually perform. They could actually work, and they had good personalities. They had good characters, and they could all talk. But I could never quite get them over that hump of getting a match. I think we could have sold the tape. I think we could have got, like TNA was already syndicated. Why not just put another group with them? It wouldn't have cost as much as the regular show because, of course, you're not paying those girls anywhere close to what you were paying Sting. I don't know what they pay Sting. I heard $750,000.
It was at least I think it was $500,000 in TNA because he was working so little, but then they probably bumped him up over the years. Or they got Spike. I think Spike ended up paying some of the bill, at least for Sting.
I know Spike filled in, but I know that the girls' program wouldn't have cost anywhere close to what the main show they were spending on the main show. Now, they may not have wanted to start the show because they would have seen how little it costs to make a girl show and they weren't overpaying those girls either. They were paying them by events, not really on a contract, by event. So we could have gotten who I wanted, but I think the show would have really done well because of the way I would have booked it. And I would have told everybody in TNA at the time, I would have told everybody just to step back and let me handle it. If I need your help, I'll let you know. But see, they didn't want to turn me loose. I don't think, because that would have shown the network how much they were really overpaying them. So I stepped back on it because that was Jeff's baby. So I kind of didn't want to cause any friction for him. And I think it would have done a lot better had they just let me go on it.
If you had to choose one person to purely be your assistant, so they wouldn't get any final say, but who would you have chosen to be your assistant booker?
Moody.
Well, you would have brought him in from
he was already there.
Oh, was he?
He was already there.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I brought him in before, but he handled the Espanol broadcasting.
Uh-huh.
And then he got Konnan to help him. And then they had a big thing with Konnan that he was going on and saying bad things about the company that they didn't even know about. Is what I heard. And I said, well, wait a minute. Moody knows what he's saying. Moody didn't say nothing. He said, no. And I asked Moody about it later, and he said, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. And, of course, nobody knew that Konnan would do that. And I would think, well, you mean of all the people that spoke English at damn Spike Network, spoke Spanish at Spike Network, and all the people that listened to that, nobody said anything about it at all? It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't very flattering either.
So this was on commentary?
Yeah. They would do it's like WWE, same thing. They do the whole matches that you would see on the main show, and then it was just voiced over in Spanish, and it may not even been voiced over. It may have been, I think they did it live too. like WWE does it sometimes. But that was one problem. I think Konnan got mad at them for something, sued them. I got sued too. For what reason, I don't know. Still haven't figured it out. But Konnan just threw me in the lawsuit too. And I wanted to ask him one day, and this is the last time I ever talked to Konnan. I didn't even want to talk to him. But he called me one day and he said, "Hey, bro, bro, I didn't really want to do it. I like you, man, but I don't know." Yeah. I said, "All right, whatever. It's water over the dam now, so let it go." And I haven't talked to him since. I still don't know why I was included in the lawsuit. Everybody was included in the lawsuit except one guy, Vince Russo.
His friend, weird, isn't it? Or I don't know if they're friends.
I don't know if they're friends or not.
I don't know.
He wasn't ever mentioned. I was mentioned. You know who else got sued? Terry Taylor. He was just like in the office doing something. He got sued too. Jeff got sued. Dixie got sued. And some more people got sued. And I think head of production got sued or something. I don't know why, but that's one of the last times I ever talked to Konnan.
Next question, David asks, where was Dutch's favourite place to live while he was working in the territories? Puerto Rico, Shreveport, Knoxville, etc. So the best place you lived while you were working in the territories?
Well, I'll tell you two places that weren't my best places. And I never lived in Shreveport, by the way. It was another town in Louisiana called Alexandria, Louisiana. And it wasn't that big of a town. It was just a center point of everything. You were more centered there than you would be in anywhere else. You couldn't live in New Orleans because New Orleans to Oklahoma, oh my God, it's like 600 miles. So you couldn't do that. But Alexandria was a lot closer. And Shreveport, no, I never liked Shreveport anyway. In Shreveport, they would run their shows in an old building. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was called the Old Louisiana Hayride, which was a famous show. And they did it in that building in Shreveport. So I saw the inside of the building. It's just a regular old building, but it had a lot of history in there. And Puerto Rico was the other place that I didn't much like living in. It was okay because everybody wanted to kill me. And that's hard to get up and say, I'm going to go get me a 6-pack of Coke or something. And you walk in and every person you meet, they're looking at you like they want to shank you in the back. And it's not a very comfortable feeling. And what other guys did he mention? I think the best place I ever lived, and I still miss it today, is Nashville. I love Nashville.
Why didn't you stay in Memphis then? Why did everyone stay in Nashville? Was it just more central?
No, it's too far. It's at the end. See, okay, say Memphis is here, Nashville's here, Louisville's here, Evansville's here, Lexington, Kentucky's over there. So everything is a long trip. But if you lived in Nashville now, it was centrally located. But I like Nashville because of the country music scene and, the Grand Ole Opry and all that kind of stuff. And people are friendly, very friendly, and the trips are not too bad.
Anywhere else? So where did you live when you were working with the Fullers?
I have to think about it. Birmingham, because that was in the middle too, because you had your Gulf Coast towns down here, and then we would run Knoxville too. So you couldn't make Knoxville from Panama City. That's an ungodly trip. So yeah, we lived in Birmingham. Did I like it? It's okay, but not that good.
Florida? Where do you live there?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
No, I'm not saying now. I mean, when you were working for Eddie Graham.
Well, I couldn't tell you that then because there's people looking for me from then. No, Tampa. It was like centrally located too. You know, Jacksonville from Miami, that's about 400 miles, maybe more, 450 miles. Just go down that coast. But Tampa's in the middle. You got Tampa and you got Orlando. Then you have Miami, and then you have Tallahassee, and then you have Jacksonville. And it was like a centrally located town. And Tampa's a pretty good town. I like Tampa.
Next question. Stanley says, my question is about referees communicating with backstage and Gorilla. Obviously, today referees wear earpieces and such, but I'm curious how this was done back in Dutch's years of wrestling with the lack of technology and communication devices. Was the match talked about in thorough detail, or was it kind of just play it by ear? Thanks. So if you had to communicate with the back for any reason, or the back had to communicate with you, how would that go about? Or would it not?
Hand signals. This is it. Tell me what to do next. No, I can't hear you. What you want to do? What? Go home. Okay. Now they would usually sometimes the booker would stand outside the dressing room, or he could actually come down to the table where the announcer is, and he could give it from there, but that was very obvious. So a lot of times I think it was just the referee making the decision. If it wasn't an important match, then I think he would, if somebody got hurt, he'd have to end it anyway. But if a lot depended on that match, I think it would be the referee making the decision along with the two guys in the ring, because they would know more than the referee. And that's a good question. I've never really had any match that would be hampered like that. And if it didn't come out the way you wanted it to, well, you'd have to do the magic of videotape. You'd have to do something else. But they would figure it out.
Did you ever see, because I know you weren't really wrestling, I know you did some matches with the WWF as Uncle Zebekiah, but did you ever hear of, Blackjack Lanza wandering down to the aisleway and start fiddling with his tie?
That was an old way. The old promoters, they would stand and they would they would flip their tie like this. They'd do like that. And the referee'd look around and say that, okay, time to go. If they had went long, or they'd flip the tie up or do something like that. I guess this was nondescript, I guess. Some guy telling the referee, let's go, let's do something. I guess nobody saw that, but we should keep it quiet.
I was going to say, look,
where did you hear that?
I've heard that quite a few times, the whole tie flipping thing. But it's like, if Blackjack Lanza there, having an epileptic fit with his tie, would that just not be obvious to everybody what's going on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Blackjack was only like 6'8". He wouldn't stand out to a big, tall guy like that is flipping his tie. And the referee look at him like, oh, me? You flipping it? Oh, me? Okay, we got it.
What would you do if someone was genuinely injured in a match? How would you convey that you needed... So it was always the X, not even in WWF. It was everywhere else.
No, the X is, I think, the deal. Doing boxing too, right?
Do they?
That's calling for help. So
that's an old thing then. That's not just some
WWE
thing.
It came from boxing, I think. I won't 100% to testify to that, but I think it. But it was. That is when you had those really big arenas and the medical help was away from you. So, but all they'd have to do now is just say, hey, call for medical. And they call. But that was the deal.
Next question, Carter from State College, Pennsylvania. Hey, Dutch and James, I was wondering if there was any sports announcers that Dutch just does not like to listen to. I'll mute the TV when I'm watching the NFL if it's Chris Collinsworth announcing. Sometimes I roll my eyes listening to Pat McAfee on WWE programming. So any commentators on any sports that bug you?
I was going to think of that name till he filled me in. Collinsworth. I just don't like the guy. I never liked the guy. He has a good voice, has a great delivery, but I don't think he's funny. I don't think he doesn't even sound entertaining. And he's only been there for like 40 years. So, and I remember when he actually played football, I think he played for the Cleveland Browns, I think. I may be wrong. And he was a pretty good receiver, and he got into announcing somehow, and he's hung on to it. You never see him really anywhere else except on football. He doesn't do any commercials or anything else, I don't think.
Bengals.
He played for the Bengals?
Yeah, Cincinnati Bengals, 81 to 88.
Okay.
So, yeah, anyone else who just winds you up? It doesn't have to be wrestling, but just any
Okay,
sport.
I'll tell you. This is a guy that gets heat, I guess, but dangerously. I never liked him because he gets heat, but I think he gets heat in a way that you don't want to hear him anymore. Paul Heyman, and I remember when Paul and who was the announcer that has throat cancer, or what's he got now?
What,
Jim Ross.
Yeah, Jim Ross. Yeah,
I finally got it, but they would almost sound like they were going to get into a fight. They would get really, really teed off at each other, and there was no way to hide it. I mean, they were kind of screaming at each other at times, and I thought they were actually working on an angle. They should have worked it that way. They should have went in and had it worked an angle with those two, but they didn't. Let's see, who else? Name somebody that you like, and I'll tell you if I like them or not.
Commentators, man, I don't know. I don't really have time for sports very much, so I could, and also if I did, you wouldn't know who they were anyway.
So these announcers could be anybody, right?
Yeah, as far as wrestling goes.
Yeah, but there's several in wrestling that, and I'll think about them later. I just can't stand them.
Yeah.
No, it's not stand. I can't.
The mask guy, the mask guy, Excalibur from AEW. I remember you were never a fan of him.
Oh, I don't like a mask guy commentating at all. I don't see what that adds. It doesn't add any. Doesn't add any type of personality to him or anything. I just don't. I don't even see that. But it's not my way to go. But if Tony likes it, he can do it. But I don't think he adds that much to it.
Next question.
Now, who do you like the most? I'm asking you.
From commentators?
Yeah, from wrestling.
Not really. No, I like Shivani and Taz. I'm trying to think from WWE. I don't particularly like anybody.
I'm gonna give you one.
Go on.
Bobby Heenan.
Oh, well, I'm talking about nowadays, like modern. I mean, I can name a ton of commentators I liked.
But nobody's ever risen to where Bobby was. Bobby says he's almost like an irritating friend that you like, but you don't like at the same time. And he makes sense where you don't want him to make sense. But I think he was one of the best. One of the best. And that was why when he was in Indianapolis, when he was announcing there, and I only got clips of him. Oh, he jumped out at you like a damn sore thumb. I mean, and he was on that mic, and it was the way he was giving it and what he was saying too. Then you put him in matches against a babyface. He'd take, for a manager, this guy could take some hellacious bumps upside down in the corner. Did he wrestle at one point too?
I think he was nearly always a manager, but he would often wrestle with Nick Bockwinkel. So Ray Stevens would disappear somewhere for whatever it was, and then Bobby would fill in, and he was really great at it.
I think of all of them, I think Bobby would compete with the ones that they've had in the last 20 years, 30 years. Mm-hmm. But when did Bobby pass away? 10 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago, yeah.
Until he lost his voice, he was still an entertaining guy. He kept his mind about him so he could come off just off the top of his head like he'd practiced it. I can't imagine Bobby Heenan ever going over anything, really. He was that good.
Yeah, he died in 2017. Next question. Jesse asks, do trainers have new wrestlers recreate classic matches to learn what makes them work? Similar to how I teach new musicians to play covers before writing originals. It helps them feel what makes a great song great. So do you know wrestlers as part of a training method that they would copy great matches of the past and go through it that way?
Never heard of that. But you can tell they're not copying great matches of the past, because the great matches of the past surpass what they're doing now. So I think if they would watch it a little more, but I think the powers that be in WWE now, they don't want that. They want somebody 90 miles a minute. And that's one of the things they teach you when you start wrestling is don't slow down. Slow down. And if you say that now in WWE, slow down, they may fire you because they don't want you slowing down. They paying all this money and they want these guys busting their ass. And I don't blame them. But sometimes if you run this by the people too quick, you don't see a boxing match sped up because you expect them. And in the first round, if they opened up, they're blown up by the second round. And the second round is, so much slower than the first one. It's like night and day. They usually start and they make their moves mean more. And because if you have a move and a guy hurts his knee, if he keeps selling his knee, at some point in the later stages of that match, that's where the knee is going to be attacked. And that's a good way to lose a match if a guy hurts himself early. And if it's going to go 20 minutes, that would be a champion to me, losing a match. He hurts his knee early. He keeps selling it. The heel keeps going after it, And the baby face, and you never see a baby face do this. I used to do it all the time. Where heels get out of the ring and take the break. Mm-hmm. I would take the break as a baby face because it made sense. If the guy was too strong, hey, I'm going to go outside and rethink things without the guy all over me. And nobody ever said, get back in there, you chicken shit bastard. They never said that. They could see what I was doing. If I was either selling the leg or a part that's hurt or just calming him down or trying to slow him down, they understood that without being told. It's just, if you see it, you know it. But they don't train that way anymore. And sometimes if you tell guys, hey, do it like it's real, well, hell, they don't even know what that means. Cornette told me one time, I'm quoting the great Jim Cornette, who's now in a war of words with Ricochet. He said at a training session one time, and this was like, I don't know, it had to be within the last 20 years, 15 years. They asked the group of people who were trying out, or it was a training session of the guys at the training center, how many of you guys have been in a real fight? You know how many raised their hand?
0.
1.
Huh.
That was a girl. And it's I don't get that. I don't really understand that. How many fights have you been in?
A few over the years. A few real fights. I've sparred a million times, lost every one.
Yeah, a real fight.
Yeah, I've been in a few.
Oh, well, probably before I was 18 or 16, 18, I'd been in 5 bad ones, bad fights. Bloody noses, sticks being used, baseball bats, and, bad fights. So then when I got 18, I said, screw this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I get hurt doing that. But there is a saying that sometimes if you have bullies around, and I had bullies around me, you either got to fight them or they don't stop. not necessarily beat them up or win, but if they know that you're going to fight them, they'll leave you alone because they don't want the fight, because they've always got it in the back of their head, what if they lost to this guy? Then all their plans to be the big bully, be the big tough one, it's gone with the wind. But anyway, I've been like in some bad fights, really.
Next question. John says, Thanksgiving on the road. Thanksgiving used to be a huge night for wrestling shows back in the 70s and 80s. You probably worked on quite a few of these through that period. My question is more about any memories of the meals on those days. Did you eat at a diner, at a wrestler's home who was nearby, and possibly did a promoter ever provide the boys with a Thanksgiving meal on the day you had to work?
Are you kidding me? A promoter serving Thanksgiving dinner? Not no, but hell no. So at Thanksgiving dinner, I think, I would have it early, and we would I don't think we were usually that far away. Could have been the same town. So you could have had Thanksgiving dinner and spent the afternoon with your family and then still make it to the show. If you had to drive, it was usually within an hour and a half. But yeah, you were never served at Thanksgiving dinner at the building. That's for damn sure. And if you stop on the road, you wouldn't. How could you enjoy a Thanksgiving dinner and go in there and only spend like 30 minutes there? You couldn't do it. So yeah, you would have maybe some turkey, maybe, but I never remember doing that. Maybe the best I ever did was a McDonald's or a Burger King or something, in and out, and that was your Thanksgiving.
Same for Christmas then, I take it.
Yeah, same deal.
Yeah. Next question, Kirk in Jonesboro, Arkansas. With WWE working on the angle between Dominic and Ray, do you think it's as good as the one between Billy and Jamie Dundee in Memphis? I don't know if there's been any other father-son angles, but if there have been, can you recommend who they were? So the Bill and Jamie Dundee feud in Memphis. Talk us through that.
Well, haven't we had Jamie on this show?
Oh, yeah.
We had to use that please disregard foul language. I mean, the meter went off the scale. Jamie, great kid. Oh, yeah, the people believe that. But let me say that but it was believed more on a personal level than it did a professional level, because, say, TV would be a professional level. You want to show the disinterest that they have in each other. Well, we skipped that entirely, basically, because back in those days, the fans, they could get close to the wrestlers. So they knew that Jamie really didn't like Bill to begin with. And Bill didn't ever put over Jamie too much when he was talking to fans. So, yeah, what they did some really good stuff. And Jamie had a partner named Woofy D, and they ended up calling Bill old and slow and stupid and this and that and the other. So one night, I may have told this story, but I got to tell it again. And we was in a dressing room, and something Jamie had done. Oh, Jamie was driving their family car one day, and I happened to see him out, but Bill didn't know anything about it. And this had happened a long time before. And I said, Jamie, I just want you to know that I never told Bill about you driving his car when he was out of town.
It should be said that Jamie was like 12 or 13, wasn't he?
Oh, he's about 13, I guess. And I pulled up, and I was driving the car, and I looked over at him, and there was Jamie. Jamie laid back in there like this, and he looked over at me and saw me, and I went, I said, you take that car back home, get out. And he kind of understood sign language. I don't think I said anything to him, or I may have. I said, you take that car home now and leave it. And Jamie told me this story. It's a great story. I wish I'd have taped it. He said, Dutch, I went home and he said, I just knew you told my dad. So I expected at any time when he came home that night for him to get that belt out and beat my ass. Said he came home, he's waiting and he's waiting. Nothing's happening. So his daddy went to bed. He said, well, maybe you'll tell him tomorrow. So he went to bed, got up the next day, nothing happened the next day. Third day, nothing happened. So I finally told him, I said, I never did tell your dad about it. I never will. And I really didn't till that night in the dressing room. And I thought that Jamie had already stooged it off himself. And Bill got up and pitched the bitch. I think if he had a belt, he'd have beat Jamie right then. But since Jamie was a grown man, he didn't do it. But I told him, I said, Jamie, don't ever say that I'm not a man of my word, because I didn't tell you, Dad, and you were 13. Boy, if you'd have hit somebody or hurt somebody, y'all all been up. You would have all been in jail.
That probably prolonged the agony for him. The anticipation.
Well, and he said he was waiting for the next week because he said something. Maybe my dad, he's probably got dementia or something, and he can't remember what he told him. But I never did tell him.
Was Jamie and Bill's relationship always a bit weird?
A bit what?
A bit weird.
It was a bit weird.
I mean, really. Did they get on all right, or were they always a bit fractious?
You could always feel something was, here's a word I'm going to use, a new word, amiss. Something was amiss between those two. So, and they got along, but you expected them to be around each other in a different way, like father, son. It wasn't like that. It was like, I'm the booker and you're the talent. And they could say things that both of them would remember, but it was never really overly friendly between the two.
Next question, Brian says, hello, Dutch and James. Just wondering if Dutch ever crossed paths with Rick Martel in any of the territories or in WWE. If so, what did he think of Martel's work in the ring? I enjoy the show greatly, thanks. Now, you and him were in the WWF for like a few months together in 95, maybe? I think that's about right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where he was. I was with him there. Oh, I thought he was great in the ring. He could do it all. And I had really, really good matches with him. Rick Martel, I'm trying to think this is the same Rick Martel. He was supposed to be a brother of the other Martels, correct? But they didn't bring that out on WWE television.
Well, like Sherry Martel. I'm trying to think what other Martels there were. Not thinking of the Garvins, are you?
No. Maybe it was somewhere else, but they had two more Martels, French Canadians. I was with them in Puerto Rico, Pierre and somebody. And
the Rougeaus you're thinking of?
No.
Oh. I was going to say, because you might have wrestled Jacques in Memphis, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
Jacques was good. Jacques was good, too.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
He was great.
We had him on the show, in fact, a couple of years ago.
He was very, very good. And he has a sense of humor that matches mine, and he's good and stupid. So the stupid humor, it gets you over with me. If you're like, I can listen to other people say something, funny, but short. It's funny, but I mean, he was really, 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 really good at it.
Let me just double make sure we're talking about the same person here. So hang on one second.
Rick Martel, he's about 6'1", jet black hair.
Let me just move that.
No, wait a minute. The model Rick Martel, that's him.
Yeah.
I'm looking up top. Yeah, that's him.
I'm trying to think when you would have wrestled him, because you wouldn't have wrestled him in the WWF because you were a manager at that point.
I wrestled him somewhere.
I'm trying to think where Rick Martel might have been, because he was in the AWA for years, in Canada, of course. Trying to think what the territories, unless it was Florida or somewhere.
Maybe it was Florida. Maybe. I don't think it was Memphis. It wasn't Memphis. The only place I could have wrestled him would be Charlotte, Mid-Atlantic, or
he wasn't there at that time. I think he was WWF at that time.
Or Florida.
Championship Wrestling from Florida. I'm now looking up 75 he was in Florida, which I think was the year you were in Florida.
That was it.
There you go, Dutch Mantell. So Dutch and John Foley. There you go, 75.
Folks, what you just witnessed was a cross-examination by the prosecuting attorney, James Romero, putting me on the stand, putting me on the spot, testing my memory. I never put my hand on a book of Bibles, right? So I never took an oath. So yeah, but I knew I had good matches with him.
Hey, when you and John Foley were tagging, do you remember who Rick Martel's tag partner? Well, no, he wasn't a long-term one. Pat Barrett.
Yep, I remember him.
Yeah.
I didn't like wrestling him.
Why? What was up with Pat?
Well, first of all, he's an Englishman.
Okay, that's a problem. No, he's Irish. He was Irish.
Okay, well, it's the same. It was at those days. It was the same to me.
I was going to say you don't ever tell the Irish that the English are the same as the Irish. Goodness me.
But I would go there and I'd say the English. I would walk in a bar with everybody stone drunk, and I'd tell everybody there is no distinction between the British and the Irish. And then tell them to come out. If they didn't like it, come outside.
But if you told the English said the English and the English are exactly alike, you'd start a war.
The English and the English.
Oh yeah, because there's so many different regions and dialects and everything. Anyway, do you remember a couple of weeks ago we were trying to come up with a list of wrestlers who could do it all? The brawling, the technical stuff, the heel, the babyface, the promos. Rick Martel. Because he was, as good as he was as a heel, he was amazing as a babyface. He had that fire. There was, man, he had that fire that so few have.
He understood the business. I see baby faces now. They couldn't get the damn crowd riled up if they had a damn shotgun. I said, "Damn, what do you need for him to?" I remember I was working with this one guy, and I told him to make a comeback, and he threw a couple of punches, and now the people are getting up, and then he gave me an arm drag and laid down in it. I got up and I didn't slap him. I just said, I just shook myself out of the arm drag on the mat, got up and kind of slapped him. I said, "Do you know what a comeback is?" And I think somebody said, "He said make a comeback."
Is that when Blackjack Lanza started flipping his tie as well?
About the same. When I tell him to make a comeback, he's going to give me an arm drag and sit down in it. I said, now, what are they looking at? So Frankie, his name was Frankie Lancaster.
Ah. Hey, who's Joey Rossi?
Say his first name again.
Joey Rossi.
Not Jerry Rossi.
No, yeah, Joey, Joey.
Joey Rossi.
Yeah.
Oh, I know him. He's passed away now. He was, what was his father's name?
Oh, I don't know. Unless we're talking Francis Rossi.
He's a great, great worker. And he got hurt in wrestling. And so he ended up starting a vitamin store. Actually, the vitamin store is very successful. And I can't remember his dad's name. Joey Rossi was his name. And Joey was he spoke slowly. So you say, "How you doing, Joey?" He went, "Well, I'm doing pretty well."
I've got his name. Len Rossi.
Len Rossi was, but he wasn't from the South. He was from, I think, up north somewhere. And he wasn't even a big guy, but a hell of a baby face.
To wrap it up, anything else you want to say about Rick Martel? Because I could wax lyrical about Rick all day. One of the most underappreciated wrestlers, I think, in the modern era.
Yeah, I often wondered why he didn't do more.
Well, he was AWA champion 5 years too late.
Look up Pierre Martel.
Pierre Martel, 1 second. Pierre Martel was one of the alter egos of Frenchie Martin.
Yep. Frenchie Martin, that was his name, right? And Pierre Martel was an offshoot.
Yeah, he wrestled as Pierre Martel. Right? Yeah, he wrestled as Pierre Martel, Pierre Martin, loads of different Pierres. Mad Dog Martin at one point, but yeah, Frenchie Martin's the name people remember in Best Buy.
Yeah, great worker.
He was the guy who apparently used to carry a bag of dildos around with him, and then he'd open the bag in airports just to get the reaction.
Oh, it sounds like something that he would do. Oh, my God. And great worker.
Mm.
I mean, he went to Puerto Rico, and they were there right before I got there. So the foreign heel, or the American heel, and he was Canadian heel, was just setting in Puerto Rico when I got there. But I did very well there, and thanks to Pierre, who got him conditioned, and then I finished the job.
Mm-hmm. Next question, Adam. Hello, James and Dutch. Jim Cornette once said that he has an issue with there being 2 War Games matches on the same card. He basically said that once you've seen the first, you've seen it all. What do you think of his take on this? Now, this happens a lot these days. You have a men's one, you have a women's one. Same with Royal Rumble, same with Money in the Bank or whatever else. Same with Elimination Chamber. But what do you think of the equality and the men and women having the same gimmick match on the same card?
I don't like it on the same card. I don't mind the same match, but let it sit on its own merits. Because I think those gimmick matches for women, I don't think really work unless you got a specific individual that you could put in these matches. And I have who's the big Hawaiian girl, the big
Nia Jax, yeah.
I think you could put her in a lot of gimmick matches and she could pull them off because she doesn't move that fast. I think before she was hurting people because she wasn't getting that much work. She was getting rusty. And then once the word gets out that, oh, watch her, she'll hurt you. A lot of, and I don't blame them. I'm not saying they're acting out of fear, but they are. They don't want to get hurt. So, but I would like to see Nia Jax. This would be my dream women's match. Nia Jax versus Amazing Kong. Awesome Kong. Because I think that Kong understood wrestling. She just inherently understood it. Some talents you get that understand it from the get-go. She did. And we'll never see that match now because she's doing something else. And it's been years and years ago. She's out of wrestling now. But I think that Awesome Kong and Nia Jax, I think, back in the day when they had that strong women's wrestling in Japan, it could have sold out every arena they had there. Some of those women set some records over there, and they were good because when you watch their stuff, I mean, they're more than just, tight. I mean, they knocked the hell out of each other. I don't know how they did that and continued, but those girls were. Who was in charge of women's wrestling in Japan for years, and who's got it now? Doesn't like Star?
Yeah, there was Stardom, and now it's like more. It's Stardom and Marigold and some others as well, but yeah.
And who had it years ago when they were?
It was All Japan Women when women's wrestling in Japan really took off, I think.
Okay, so did they have like women as its own entity, as its own company?
Yeah, New Japan. I'm not even sure they still do. They don't have any women on their roster, and they never did. They've always been separate. entities. Okay. So, yeah. I think on certain cards they've had women wrestle, but only in the last few years. The women's wrestling was always its own entity. And I think in the 80s at some point, with like the Crush Gals and a couple of other teams, they were bigger than the guys. Like, as far as popularity goes, they were getting ridiculous, like, pop culture sort of points.
And the thing you could do with that, you could run simple angles. It didn't have to be all wrapped up in some in this group and that group and somebody else and somebody. I mean, you could almost just. It was I call it the old Buddy Fuller effect. You put a guy on TV 4 weeks, give him big wins. Put another guy on TV, a heel, give him big wins. And then all of a sudden just have them face off at TV one day, then you throw them together. Of course, you got to add a bunch of more stuff in there too, but they don't even have to have contact. Just talk about each other, make the people pay the money to see the match.
We're going to finish on this question then. Arthur from
Garfield. You know how many times you've said that?
Yeah,
we're going to finish
once.
3.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Well, maybe on 3 different episodes I have, but no, I've been very mindful after he yelled at me the first time I did it. Arthur from Garfield, New Jersey. Hey, James and Dutch, thank you for your show. It gets me through the nighttime custodian job. My question is, does Dutch have any interactions or stories with announcer Howard Finkel? I heard he was a huge New York Jets fan and was always my favourite announcer.
Howard was great. And one thing about Howard, all the boys, the talent, they always liked Howard. I mean, he was just anybody that didn't like Howard, there was something wrong with him. So, but I don't know. I had a story, but I can't remember it now. He was like let me think about this. I'll see if I can remember this week, but right off the top of my head, I can't. But I think somebody had him as they wanted to pull a rib on him. I think they pulled the rib on him. I think he didn't like it too much, but he wasn't the one to complain and bitch. I think Vince, he heard about it, and I think he called the ones that ribbed him and told them not to do it again. And that was enough for Howard and Vince always liked him. What did he do before he announced?
Man, he was announcing for decades, man. He was announcing from
what did
70s.
He do right before he started announcing or going around the guiding? It's what Kevin Sullivan used to say. You just got the guiding.
I'm going to check, I don't know what he was doing. I think he was announcing from the 70s, but he was Vince McMahon's or Titan Sports' first employee. Early life says absolutely nothing, at least on his Wikipedia. Says he made his debut in 77. So he was 27 when he started announcing for the WWF as a ring announcer. And he was bald then.
Yeah, he was good.
Hey,
great announcer.
Was Howard Finkel, I don't know, like between Howard Finkel and Tony Chimmel in WWE history, are they the most picked on, bullied employees in WWE history?
No, it's got to be Howard. It's got to be Howard. Tony, they picked on him, but he was also the type who could take it. He thought it was funny, and Howard did too until he got if it didn't get bad. But he'd laugh it off, and but they didn't really play any bad ribs on him. It was just like schoolyard stuff and all this kind of stuff. But he would get something in the mail, or he'd get something in his locker or something, and of course, who put it here? No, and that would be the run of the night. Odd, who put this in here? He would try to play detective all night long. But yeah. Tony, good guy too, very good guy, but I never remember them getting mad about it.
Is Howard Finkel the greatest ring announcer of all time? And I'm talking about not commentator, the guy who stands in the middle of the ring.
Well, there's other people that try to mimic how he did it, but I don't think they quite come across with it. He had the voice for it. He had the appearance for it, and he was good. I've seen others try to do it, but you could tell they were the top in the game, but not the top of the game all time.
Yeah, with Howaed, they just kept trying to retire him constantly, like he kept doing with Jim Ross. Like for whatever, the fans love him. He's the best at what he does. Let's try and retire him because he's too old. It's like he's right there. I mean, just use him. They tried to use anybody else apart from Howaed for like decades. And then like the one time they brought him back and he got a huge ovation, he started crying. And all Michael Cole could do, because he's a turd, is make fun of him. And it's like, Howard's probably, I mean, he's gone now, but he's probably like the nicest guy.
Michael Cole's going to hear this, and he's going to threaten to beat the living crap out of you.
He can threaten all he wants. He couldn't beat my meat, let alone in a fight.
If you had a match with Michael Cole, how would you think you'd do? A fight. Let's say a fight.
It'd probably be like the Waffle House thing, where I would even like half throw a punch, and he'd probably knock himself out off like a steel ring post or something.
Well, he was a good announcer. Do you think he was a good announcer, though?
No, he annoys me, Michael Cole. Howard Finkel, by the way, is the greatest of all time. But do you know who else was great? And I want to bring this up.
But ring announcer.
Yeah, Lance Russell. I love his ring announcing. Not as a commentator, but announcing the wrestlers to the ring. I always thought he was great.
You know what I liked about his announcing? Not only his ring announcing, which he was very, very good at. I liked his play-by-play because he wasn't one word after another word. It was like he would say something, then he would lay out for a while. Then he'd say something else. But everything he said had pertinence to the match, and he wasn't trying to talk just to hear himself talk. I thought he was great. I thought he was great at play-by-play. And in Memphis, he did it in just a way, it was almost like off the cuff and casual commentary. So you didn't get all excited. And when he got excited, oh, wow, he got out of his range now, so must be something big happening. But Lance Russell and Jerry Lawler probably are two of the most over people next to Elvis in Memphis of all time.
Yeah. To wrap it up, I think absolutely Howard Finkel, the greatest ring announcer of all time, and it's not even close. Right, on that...
Why don't you run a contest and see?
Well, I'm not sure I can do a contest, but I can... Okay, put in the comments. Howard Finkel's always going to be number one announcer, I think, for most people. But who else would you say was one of the best? I think, didn't Jimmy Lennon do NWA from Hollywood? You know, he did the boxing as well. And Jimmy Lennon Jr. Yeah, Jimmy Lennon Jr. is one of the biggest announcers at the moment. Oh, Michael Buffer in WCW. There's one. He was terrible, but in a great way. Because he would just make up complete crap for the main events. And he'd go, Kevin Nash, he come from, what is it, Detroit, wherever. And Detroit, Michigan. That's right. And but his accomplishments and his championship wins make him a citizen of the world. Like, what dog food are you eating, Michael? But yeah, what's he talking about? But it was great. And you knew he was making it up.
I would like a camera to open up on a guy walking down the ring. You've never seen this guy, right? Or he's on the control with a headset on. He walks all the way down the ring. You follow him in bits and pieces, and he gets down there and he just slaps the hell out of the guy. And he said, "Don't ever say something that's stupid again," and leave. Hey, the guy's over.
Hey, do you know who Hulk Hogan did that once with Mel Phillips? You know, the child's feet touching guy. Yeah, he had him in Japan. He smacked him across the head while he was announcing. So clearly Hogan knew something.
Who did Hogan put to sleep one time on that?
Richard Belzer, Sergeant B. Munch from Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and also one from Homicide: Life on the Streets. He played Butt Munch there as John Munch there as well. I always called him Butt Munch. I told my brother, because we're big SVU fans.
You called him what?
Well, because his character name was Sergeant John Munch, but my brother always forgot his first name, so I told him his first initial was B Munch, and he believed me. Yeah,
you got it.
All right then. Okay then, that is that show, and we're done. We'll be back storytime with Dutch Mantell on Wednesday. Questions for Dutch at gmail.com if you want to submit a question for this very show in future iterations of. Once again, thank you so much for those who do. We do appreciate it. And, the more questions, the better. Please send them all in. But until Wednesday for Storytime. Oh,
how's my mustache look?
It's wonkier than usual. It was like one big half and one slim half for the entire show. It's looking better now.
It's getting there. All right. Do it together now.
Okay. Everybody,
we the people.
See you next time.